Maui, an extract from the anthology Shades of the Unknown by John Wing. He was like any other 10-year-old boy, inquisitive, full of adventure, a fascination for life, a willingness to learn, and was not afraid to challenge and ask questions. But he belonged to no one. Yet he did belong to someone. In fact, two people, though they were not expecting him. This is how it happened. Julie and Malcolm Riddle had for so long wanted a child. They had tried everything, but Julie was never able to conceive. This had been going on for 6 years, but now they were resigned to the fact that it would be impossible to have a baby. Although this did put a strain on their marriage, they supported each other, and their love overcame the traumas that this situation thrust upon them. They lived just outside the village of Auxton in the Lake District, in a comfortable white stoned cottage with grand hills behind and the river Rofe flowing barely a mile away, all encompassed by trees and sheep gently bleating in the distance. A rather idyllic locale. It was early summer, June to be exact, and Malcolm was in the study working on some transcripts while Julie finished off painting the kitchen walls. The radio was on low, playing out some old pop song, when, for the briefest of moments, the radio went dead and a momentary bright light engulfed the cottage, even eclipsing the sun's brilliance. Julie stopped in her tracks, the brush hovering over the wall. She instinctively closed her eyes, the harsh white glare bouncing from the white paint blinding her completely. When she opened them, she found herself on the floor, still clutching the paintbrush, with their pet dog Willow pawing at her and a concerned husband stooping over her. "Are you all right?" he asked as he helped her up. What happened?" "I'm not really sure. There was a blinding light of some sort. I had my back to it, but it lit up the whole study. And then Willow was barking constantly, and I knew something was wrong. That's when I came rushing down to see if you were okay. I remember now." She gazed around the kitchen. Everything was normal, for only the warm, soothing glow of the sun infused their surroundings, and the radio was back to playing the same tune. Willow, a brown and white English Springer Spaniel, was nuzzling up close to her legs. "Are you sure you're all right?" "I'm fine, darling. There's nothing to worry about." "What was that light?" "I don't know," Julie answered as she placed the brush in the sink. "It just came out of nowhere. Most strange." There was a solitary knock. Both of them looked at one another inquiringly. It started the dog barking. "You heard that, right?" "I did," replied his wife. The knocking sounded again, soon becoming a gentle and persistent sound. Julie walked into the hallway, her husband following close behind, with the dog leaping ahead of them, still yapping. "I'm coming," she said as she made her way, dressed in old jeans and a scruffy blue shirt, Malcolm's actually, to release the latch and open the door. What confronted them was the last thing they expected. There, on the doorstep, was a boy of 10 years of age, naked. Julie just gawped at him, confused and puzzled to see this child in front of them, taking in his nakedness, his blonde hair, and a gold chain hanging around his neck that held a gold disc about the size of a 10-pence piece, which, if she was not mistaken, was glowing ever so slightly. Although the more she looked, the less it shone. She was lost for words, unlike Willow, who continued to bark. "Put him in the kitchen," Julie instructed. Malcolm picked up the animal, only to return a few moments later. "Who are you?" Julie asked. The boy simply stated, "I am here." Malcolm and Julie eyed each other questioningly, while the boy stood patiently before them. Julie turned to the child and asked, "Where are your parents?" He didn't answer. Malcolm surveyed the immediate area, down to the lane beyond their garden, to see if there was a vehicle. There was no one else about. "What are you doing here?" Immediately, Julie followed her husband's inquiry with, And why aren't you wearing clothes?" Still, the child remained silent. "You better come in." The boy did as Julie bid, the three of them now standing in the hallway, with both adults very much perplexed at the circumstance they found themselves in. Julie suggested, "Get him some clothing." "But we haven't got any kids' clothes." A pained expression crossed his wife's face. Malcolm realised what he had said. "I'm sorry, I'll find something." He headed for the stairs while Julie ushered the boy into the living room, prompting him to sit on the settee. Soon, Malcolm returned with a t-shirt, giving it to his wife. She put it on the boy. It was obviously too big for him, but at least it made him more respectable. "Now," said Julie as she sat beside him, "what are you doing here? Where are your mum and dad?" Their eyes met as the boy turned to her. That's when she really noticed the colour of them. They were a very dull yellow. She had never seen eyes like that before. "I am here," affirmed the boy again, but adding, "I am yours." "Ours?" Both Malcolm and Julie spoke this as one. When the boy didn't speak, Julie said, "But your parents will be worried about you." "I am yours," commented the boy for the second time. Julie got up and took her husband to one side and whispered, "This doesn't make sense. You're telling me, but what do we do?" Julie studied the boy for a moment, who in turn observed them and remarked, "I don't know." "Well, we have to do something." "Yes, I know." They thought in silence. Julie had decided. She sat by the boy again and asked, "Where do you live?" The child simply replied, "I am here. I am yours." "Well, we can't just send him outside. It seems he has nowhere to go." A little exasperated, Malcolm remarked, "He must belong to somebody. Look, we'll keep him here today. By tomorrow there'll be a missing person report on the news or in the papers, and then we'll know who he belongs to. Then we can return him to his parents. As long as we aren't accused of kidnapping." "That won't happen," Julie assured him, though he wasn't entirely convinced. She turned her attention to the child. "What's your name?" "I'm called Maui, but you can call me any name you like." It's a rather unusual name, but Maui it is. And that is how the boy came into their lives. The next day, no one had come forward to say a boy was missing, nor the next day. In fact, a whole week had passed by, and still there was no report of a missing child on the radio, in the newspapers, or on the TV. By this time, there was a sense of more normality in the Riddles household. The child was more communicative with them, and seemed like any other 10-year-old. When asked, though, about where he came from, he would always give the same answer: "I am here. I am yours." The next day, after breakfast, Malcolm went upstairs into the spare room that had been turned into an office while Julie sorted out the washing, and Maui sat at the kitchen table, starting on the Lego set that they had bought him a few days ago. Star Wars Kylo Ren's shuttle starship, comprising over 1,000 pieces. He completed it within 90 minutes. Taking Willow with him, he went into the back garden to play with the dog. This was the most childlike thing he liked to do, considered Julie. Everything else the boy did was very much adult-orientated. She wished he were more of a child in other things as well. As she watched them both playing together, the scene bringing a smile to her face, a voice inquired, "Hello, is anybody in?" "I'm in the kitchen, Mum." The 64-year-old woman came in wearing a light blue blouse and cream trousers, carrying a black handbag. She sat down at the round oak table. "Someone's been busy," Rachel Johnson commented. Julie turned to face her mother. "What's that?" Rachel nodded at the Lego set. "Oh, that, yes." She made no further remark about the model, dwelling on how she was going to break the news. "Would you like a cup of tea, Mum?" "Oh, that would be lovely, dear. I'm parched." As she filled the kettle with water and switched it on to boil, Julie asked, "How's your week been?" "Oh, fine, fine. Barbara came out of hospital yesterday. In fact, I'm going to see her this afternoon. Give her my best, won't you?" "Of course, dear." The kettle soon boiled, and Julie poured them both a cup and sat next to her mother. "How are you and Malcolm getting along?" "Malcolm's upstairs working." Rachel sipped her tea. "Just what I needed." She had a drink as well and then said, "I've got something to tell you, Mum. Well, show you as well." "Oh, come over to the sink." Julie got up. Rachel took another drink and joined her daughter at the sink, which looked out onto the garden. Julie could see both Willow and Maui romping on the grass, with the boy tickling the dog's tummy. And the dog turned over and, standing on its hind legs, licked at the boy's leg, which made him giggle. It was a delight to watch, and Julie took a lot of comfort from it. The animal then ran away, with Maui chasing after him. "What do you think, Mum?" Rachel studied the same scene, witnessing the dog frolicking about, obviously enjoying itself. Rachel stated, "He's a very happy dog." Somewhat perplexed by her mother's remark, she queried, "Is that all?" Rachel looked at her daughter, confused and uncertain. I don't understand." "But look, Mother, look," Julie insisted towards the window. Rachel gazed through the glass. "Don't you see him?" "I can see Willow, of course." Her voice becoming more agitated, Julie strained, "The boy! What about the boy?" "The boy?" Her voice wavered. What boy?" "Maui!" Indicating with her hand, Julie exclaimed, "He's there, playing with Willow." "I'm sorry, dear, but I can only see the dog, not a child." If you're intrigued how this story ends, it is available to download or purchase as a paperback from Amazon in my latest anthology, Shades of the Unknown.